Hey everybody, PC Outcast here, back with another episode of Everlasting Summer, continuing along Slavia's good route, at least that's what we're hoping to achieve. We're getting fairly close, I think we're on day 6. There was no one at the camp leader's cabin. I rummaged through the cabinets and packed up a sleeping bag, my winter clothes, a flashlight, and some other garments I found. I came out and immediately ran straight into Alyssa. Going for a hike? Yeah, for a hike. I reassured her. Well, take care. She gave me a sly smile, and I went on her way. I hastened my steps to the infirmary. The nurse is a human too in the end, so eventually she will go to lunch. I hid in the bushes, waiting. Yeah, this is not shady at all, dude. Time flew by fast. My thoughts have settled, and I had a firm decision. I haven't thought my plan out beyond the first steps. I simply didn't care. The most important thing is that I act the way I think is appropriate, and whatever happens next, let it happen. At last, the nurse came out of the infirmary. She looked around and noticed no danger, locked the infirmary with a key, and quickly went towards the canteen. Looked around, noticing no danger. She went around the corner. I got to the window in a few bounds and started to hectically knock on it. Slavia showed up soon. Semyon, what are you doing here? You're not allowed to. How are you feeling? I'm fine. But Olga told me to stay here for another day. She told me something completely different. Okay, get out, I said with confidence. What are you talking about? What for? She asked fearfully. Get out now. I'll explain everything later. She looked at me closely for a while, but then opened the window without further argument. I helped her to jump down to the ground. Okay, what next? Let's go. I grabbed her hand and made my way to the forest. Slavia stopped a few minutes later. Semyon, just what are we doing? What's wrong? Do you think that everything was right the way it was? No, I don't, but it will be even worse this way. Why? We have a right to act the way we think is correct. Okay, but what will happen next? I haven't thought about it yet. Every step in my plan had gone quite well until now, but I wasn't keen on thinking even one step ahead. Take a look. I opened the bag and showed the things I took from the camp leader's cabin. And? Slavia looked at me inquiringly. I don't know. We'll stay in the forest for a while. Show them that our opinion matters. But that's stupid and childish. Well, if you don't want to. She gave me a lamentable look. I'll do as you say. These words gave me the creeps. As you say? Nobody ever said anything like that to me. In any case, I think this is the best decision for now. Alright. I laid the sleeping bag on the ground and we sat on it. So, what are we going to do? I don't know. I've never been so close to utter failure. No, I wasn't questioning my choice, but indeed I had no idea what to do next. What would you suggest? It'd be nice to have something to eat. Have you brought anything with you? And that was exactly what I'd forgotten. No, I haven't, I replied slowly. That's fine. We kept sitting in silence. I wonder if they will look for us. Though even if they do, they're unlikely to succeed. The forest is big enough. But food. By the evening, I'll get hungry too. Okay, stay here. I'll be right back. Where are you going? To get some food. Maybe we should go together. No, I'll be right back. I headed back to the camp at a rapid pace, leaving Slavia alone in the glade. I'm absolutely certain that she won't go anywhere and will wait for me. I wish I was as certain that I'll remember the way back as well. Oh dear. Even if they hadn't started to look for both of us yet, then surely they'll have to find out that Slavia is missing, so I have to move carefully and try not to get noticed. In general, every single pioneer was a threat now. Not only those who knew me, such an obvious kidnapping will surely be known to everyone in no time. And while getting to the canteen in a few sprints was not hard at all, I had no idea what to do next. I can't just walk in there like nothing happened. Are you hiding there? I almost jumped out of my skin. Yelena was standing behind me. Getting hungry? She stared at me. Come on, why so quiet? I was tongue-tied for a moment and couldn't think of an answer. So why have you come? Oh. Tell her that I need food for Slavia. Oh, really? Yeah, really. Okay, I'll be right back. Much to my surprise, Yolanda didn't ask any awkward questions. In the blink of an eye, she zipped out of sight through the doors of the canteen. I was wondering whether I should trust her and wait, or should I flee before she returns with backup. However, Yolanda interrupted my thoughts quickly as she reappeared in a couple of minutes with a plastic bag in her hands. Here you go. The bag was full of buns and had a few packs of kefir in it. But why? Well, because it's brave and cool. She smiled slyly. Best regards to Slavia. Yolanda waved goodbye and ran away. I stood there for some time in confusion, but then went back to the forest. It was completely unlike Yolanda, but frankly speaking, I was thankful to her. In the end, I couldn't get food by myself during the day without getting myself into trouble. Upon getting back to the glade, I found Slavia sitting on the sleeping bag in the exact same pose. Here. I gave the bag to her. You got it so fast. She said excitedly, well, I found help. Slavia gave me a questioning look, but I didn't go into details. We ate busily without saying a word. I sighed with satisfaction in the end. Good. Really good. Yeah. Agreed Slavia. What are you going to do now? Maybe you have us any suggestions? About what? Well, at least about how to deal with the camp leader. I don't know. And are you sure? Yes, I am. I interrupted her. This is an act of protest, after all. She must be aware that she can't order me. I stuttered. Order us around. I feel like I said something stupid. Even if I was indeed Olga's errand boy, Slavia was... Yeah, you're funny. She gave a cute smile. We could just go and talk with her. But if you want to sit here and wait, I'm fine with it. I tried to talk to her. Are you sure you did it the right way? What is the right way? To be honest, I didn't know the answer. Such awkward talks were always something of an insurmountable task for me. I bet if I knew how to deal with such cases, things would go another way. Of course, since I was afraid and blaming myself, there was no chance to be confident. I don't know. Slavia burst into laughter. What? Nothing. I just feel like a princess who was saved from the evil witch's castle by Prince Charming. I looked at her carefully. While all this sounded quite romantic, I thought that what Slavia had just said was absolute nonsense. But generally, Olga is an evil witch. It makes some sense. Yes, similarity is definitely there. I said it, spelling out every word. And princesses are given no choice in such cases, usually. Slavia continued in a cryptic tone. Given no choice? That's impossible. It's me who had no choice here. Just sit and wait until I get back to my reality by some miraculous chance. Does Slavia have anything in common with me? She's a role model pioneer, working hard and beautiful. Hardworking and beautiful. She has hundreds, if not thousands of options. Probably this is the moment I've been dreaming about all my life. Such an unreachable girl as Slavia, not only sitting next to me, speaking and laughing, but completely depending on me. But is it a good or bad thing? And what should I do next? There were more questions than answers. When it's hard enough to make a decision about my own life and take responsibility for my own actions, how could I do that for both of us? Before now, I had kept myself distant from such problems in the hope of everything resolving on its own without my input. But I couldn't act this way now. And not even because of the fact that heaven only knows where and in what time I was. You know, I could be wrong. Slavia looked at me inquiringly. We won't achieve anything indeed by just sitting here. And not just that. It's stupid and childish. You were right. What should we do then? Let's go. We got up, I took the sleeping bag and headed to the camp, holding Slavia by the hand. Soon we came to the square where Olga was standing as if she was waiting for us. Long time no see, she said angrily. Do you have something to say to excuse yourself? Oh, I have nothing to justify myself. We have no reason to justify ourselves. Okay, that is not the guide I'm following is not exactly clear. It says you have nothing to justify. Well, I guess I'll go with myself. I guess I'm kind of taking responsibility, right? I replied calmly. Oh, really? Okay then. So you think all this is normal? Fine. She paused for a few moments and turned to Slavia. Go to your cabin. I understand that you're not the one to blame. Slavia didn't move an inch. She just lowered her eyes and held my hand even more tightly. Slavia? As you can see, she doesn't want to. What did you say to seduce her? Oh my god, I said nothing. I started losing my cool. Why do you think we've done something wrong? We haven't done anything. At all. As if I haven't seen it. She grinned. So what have you seen? She paused, but continued a second later in the same tone. I've seen enough. Wow, you're so good at drawing conclusions. Getting a job in the secret police? Ooh, stop it with your rudeness. I didn't even think of starting it, I said sarcastically. Okay, your time is up, and I'm not willing to continue this pointless argument. You're grounded till the end of the session. Oh, really? And how are you going to manage that? I'll lock you down in the cabin. What if I object? Olga gave me a surprised look. It was just now that I realized a crowd was gathering around us. I could spot Lena, Alyssa, and Yolana in the crowd. What do you mean by object? Said the camp leader slowly. I mean exactly what I said. But you can't. A true pioneer. Well, that means I'm a false one. Olga paused as if she was pulling herself together. You think I can't force you? And how would you do that? I laughed emphatically, ignoring the various mystical forces that I was least concerned about right now. The camp leader indeed had absolutely no idea about enforcing anything. You know what? What? It looked like Olga already understood that she had lost, but still couldn't admit her defeat because of her pride and her position of eldest and wisest in the whole camp. Komsomol was a youth division of Communist Party. Young people who failed to join it generally were treated as outcasts in society. Okay. I'll send a report to your school. You won't be accepted to the Komsomol. You won't be able to join the party. I had no way to respond against such serious threats. Accept it. You have no choice anyway. Slavia had kept silent until now. Intervened in the matter. Olga, why do you assume you're right from the start? Why is Semyon always to blame for everything? What's so special about what has happened? What have we done wrong? Are you even sure of what you're blaming us for? And if it was anyone other than me standing here, would you act the same way? Slavia, you should know that. That's the point. I know everything. I know you. I know that Semyon hasn't done anything wrong. I know you're prejudiced against him. Without any clear reason, by the way. Even though he's trying his best. Yes, it looks awkward at times, but I know he puts all his energy and his heart into it, and you're going to blame him just because he is the way he is? I was charmed by Slavia's monologue, listening to it without getting whether she was praising me, declaring facts, or stating her opinion, which was probably prejudiced. I guess her exact words flew over me. Just the melody of her voice was enough for me. It hypnotized and carried me away from the sick woman in stupid pioneer camp while calming and healing the wounds in my soul. Okay, I don't know what to do with you anymore. Olga calmed down a bit. But don't think that I approve of your behavior. She turned away, sliced through the crowd, and headed to her cabin. I expected a storm of applause like in American movies, but the crowd started to dissolve quickly as the show came to its end. And Yolana just winked at me slyly. Well, you know, we kind of overdid it. I looked at Slavia. She was smiling. No, not at all. I'd be arguing with her until late at night, and you nailed it right and center. Oh, sorry, right and clear. I couldn't get the right words like that even if I had an entire week to think. Oh, come on. What? That's the simple truth, not a trace of lies or flattery. She gazed into my eyes and burst out laughing. Laughing? Sorry, it's been a long, hard day today. I just said the first thing that came to my mind, and this is how it turned out. Your first thought is the right one. That's how the saying goes. I guess it is. I just noticed now that we were still holding each other by the hand. After feeling a bit awkward, I tried to pull my hand free, but Slavy didn't let me. This gave me the chills for a second. Where will we go? I had no desire to go back to my cabin. Strictly speaking, I didn't want to stay in the camp at all. What would you say if I suggested we return to the forest? Slavy looked at me in surprise. Well, you know, it's just sometimes... Okay, let's go. I wasn't expecting such a quick response and I had no idea how to finish my sentence. I was just going to tell her about a feeling I get sometimes when you want to go somewhere outside of your comfort zone. At least for a while. At least for a few hours. I used to do this before quite often, visiting foreign districts or even neighboring cities. New places and sceneries calm my heart and help to realize that the world is not limited by my apartment walls or the daily routine to university or the workplace. And thus there are people who are doing better or worse than me. And so my typical problems are not as bad as they appear to be. I suddenly smiled. What? Nothing. I just remembered. Never mind, let's go. We headed into the forest, still holding hands. Eventually we came to a glade, probably the one where we sat an hour ago. Or it could be a different one, as I couldn't distinguish one from another. Here? Slavy gave me a questioning look. Now let's go further. Okay. After another half an hour of wandering through the forest, we came to a small lake. What a nice place. You're right. Slavia smiled enigmatically. Then I suggest we stop here. Nice place. I put the sleeping bag on the ground and sat on it. Slavia did the same. And what were we gonna do? I don't know. It was your idea to go into the forest. Yes, mine. I had to make a decision once again, while I had absolutely no idea what could we do. We could talk, for example. About what? Oh, come on. Don't get so anxious. Slavia laughed. I'm not. I can see you are. Well, it's just because... It's fine. As you say. I sighed and stared at the ground. Maybe you can tell me about yourself? Well, there's nothing really to talk about. It's impossible that there could be nothing of interest in a person's life at all. How so? I'm an example of that. You just... She hesitated. Could it be that you are not telling me something? Like what? I don't know. Like you're hiding something from me. But why would I? How would I know? You'd know better. Well, I don't... You said it like... How? Not right. Slavia laughed again. I'm sure that anyone but her would not be so calm here. Okay, so what do you want me to talk about? Well, tell me about yourself. Anything interesting that happened in your life? Right now, I was definitely sure that there was nothing interesting in my life at all. Okay, let me think. I made a smart face. When I was a kid, like 5 or 6 years old, I guess, there was a small hut near my family's country house. A solid one, made from wooden boards, with tar paper roof, so it could be used as a bomb shelter in case of a war. So one day, I was sitting on top of it with somebody and suddenly fell off. And there were beds of strawberries behind it. And during those split seconds that I was falling, I thought, that's it, the Grim Reaper had come for me. And my entire life ran through my head. A life just 6 years long, but still. So I fell into those beds and obviously didn't feel anything as there was plenty of soft ground there. So that's the story. Slavia laughed. But that's so silly. I didn't think so at the time. What about now? I don't know. I guess it is. Fine. Tell me something else. You'll call that silly too. No, I won't. I started thinking again. Also, I once fell into a pond from a bridge and almost drowned. Your stories are all Slavia said in an annoyed tone. I told you, there isn't much to talk about, so I told you the first story that came to my mind. Speaking of which, the lake! Slavia looked at the water. Let's go swimming. I'm not really fond of that. I don't even have anything to swim in. Oh, come on. She gave me a captivating smile. Well, I don't know, really. Of course, I was eager to agree, but I still hesitated. Come on! Slavia laughed and ran off to the lake, unbuttoning her shirt on the way. Well, I stood up from the sleeping bag and slowly headed her way. When I came closer, Slavia was already splashing in the lake with all her clothes left laying around. Come here. Well, I'm not sure if I want to. I've mumbled slowly. Come on, it's fun in here. She didn't seem to feel awkward about my presence at all. Well, I wanted to turn away at first. But here's the question. What's more appropriate here? If Slavia thinks it's okay and I act awkwardly, won't it offend her? But that isn't the most important thing now. I didn't bring my swimming trunks. I guess that wasn't the most suitable excuse at the moment. So, neither did I. Slavia said with the voice a level quieter. Don't be afraid. I'm not. There's nothing to be afraid of. So, get in. I didn't know what to say. I probably wanted to comply, but with everything happening some other way. Not in such spontaneous and random manner. And really, why is Slavia so friendly to me? Or is there something more to it than that? And I really don't get it. It's up to you, she said disappointedly. Light the fire then. What for? Because when I get out, I'll need a way to dry myself. Oh yes, fine. I quickly went back to the sleeping bag, picking up branches on my way. Collecting firewood wasn't a problem at all, but how do I light the fire? I had neither matchbox nor lighter. Like every educated person, I knew that it's possible to do it by rubbing one stick against another, but I've never done this before. Well, I had no other ideas. I started to drill one stick into another slowly. I was lucky that sticks were dry enough because otherwise I'd have no chance at all. Actually, I was quite skeptical about my chances, but after about a minute, some smoke appeared and a faint fire flared up, dying out a moment later. At least it was clear that I could handle this way of starting a fire. It took me another 20 minutes of suffering, but in the end I had a small fire burning next to the sleeping bag. I was throwing more sticks into it lazily. This is how it turns out. Man can adapt to anything, and so I could probably even survive in a snowy forest. My survivalist thoughts were interrupted by Slavia, who suddenly appeared right above me. Wow, you're good. I lifted my gaze and quickly turned away. She was wearing a shirt, but thanks to its dampness, it wasn't hiding much. It wasn't a problem in the lake, but it's quite different when she's so close. One wouldn't get lost with you. Slavia sat with her back against me. I hope it will dry off quickly. Somehow I was hoping so too. So what? What? I asked with a muddled voice. Tell me something else. I don't know, really. Felt like something was stuck in my throat. Storytelling was definitely out of the question. You've gotten so stiff suddenly. Really, why would I? It's nothing, just... I had a feeling that I won't be able to just sit like that any longer. Animal instincts were clouding my mind. You think this is normal? What? Sitting like this. What's wrong with it? Seems like Slavia really didn't understand. Well, you are... Do you really not get it? I sighed helplessly. Well, I'm not really sure. Her voice sounded cunning. What do you think? Well, maybe we shouldn't hold back. Her words flashed through my head. She's giving her consent. Oh, what? She's spelling it out? Something wonderful happened between us, something that I couldn't have even dreamt of 6 days ago. Maybe here it is, the reason for me being in this camp? Yeah, to bang Slavia. Sure. That was amazing. Yeah. For a while we just lay close to each other. It's getting chilly. Hang on. I unfolded the sleeping bag and got inside together. Slavia rested her head on my shoulder. Mind if I take a quick nap? I just feel so tired. Sure, go ahead. Soon her breathing became deep and steady. The wind quietly rustled the leaves on the trees around us, the grass was swaying next to us, and tiny bugs buzzed annoyingly overhead. Suddenly I realized this was the best place I have ever seen in my life. Thinking that, I fell asleep. I opened my eyes and saw the top of an oak roaring above. Strong wind had risen, chilling me to the bone. The full moon was staring right at me. Night has fallen. Couldn't really tell what time it was, but it didn't matter much. Slavia was still asleep. I tucked the sleeping bag around her cozily, got dressed, and headed to the lake. I was really thirsty, and there weren't any other options available. Besides, I don't think the water here is poisonous. We're not around Chernobyl or anything. At least, I want to believe that. I scooped up some water and eagerly dipped my face into my hands. The water tasted so good that it felt like it came from a spring, not a lake. My reflection stared at me, blurred in the water, and touched by the moonlight. It seemed to be smiling. Weird. Didn't even notice. Overjoyed, I headed back, fully intending to sleep till morning. And a twig snapped nearby. I turned to see what made the noise and saw someone behind a tree. Who's there? I called out, worried. There's no need to scream like that. The voice seemed familiar. I came closer and saw Lena. What are you doing here? Taking a walk. At this time? Why? What? I can't? No, it's just strange. I leaned against a tree and pondered. She's definitely here for a reason. Besides, we barely made it here. You can't reach this lake on a walk. And even at night, Slavia, sleeping a dozen steps away, was in clear view. And? What? Were you gonna say something? Am I supposed to? Up to you. I don't get what you're saying. Okay. Been here for a while? Well, not that long. How long is that? Not long. Lena snapped. Alright. Is that all? I don't know. We stood silently a while longer. You should probably get back. Slavia will get cold. So you saw? It was hard not to see. If you think that. Well, what am I supposed to think, huh? Seems as clear as day. I guess. So you're not going to say anything? What is there to say? After you show at the square today, words don't seem to... After your show at the square today, so words don't seem to be needed. There was no show. We just... It's like I'm justifying myself to her. It's none of your business anyway. Exactly. It's your business. Just be careful. Watch out. What are you talking about? If everything comes to you so easily, you probably won't value it much. Though you should. I don't get it. Well, take Slavia. Bam. This time, it's magical. Then you do it another time, and another, and then you get tired of it. Maybe. Lena paused. That's what I'm saying. You need to cherish what you have, even if you don't put much effort into getting it. You think I'm treating this like a game, you're totally wrong. I don't think that, but it's possible. Besides, how about staying out of the things that are none of your business? I'm just giving you advice. I don't remember asking for it. I think you should pay more attention to what you're doing and planning to do so you don't feel any torturing regrets later on. Look, this is starting to sound like a threat. Huh, it really is. Well, maybe so. Lena said mysteriously. So you... No, not at all. Not now, to be precise, she added in a whisper. Lena turned and headed into the depths of the forest. I didn't stop her. When she was almost gone from sight, I noticed something in her hand, blinking in the moonlight. A strange girl. I sighed and returned to Slavia. The warmth of her body kept me from the cold of the night. I hope I was keeping Slavia warm as well. Wow. Well, that was interesting. We'll continue with this story in the next episode. Thanks very much for joining me. See you then.